So let's drink a little bit, a healthy little shot. So this is a plant-based tonic. It has kratom and kava in it, and these two plant material, they really help you feel more calm. I jokingly say this is like a healthy way of getting drunk. Yeah, it's kind of like my little pleasure that I have sometimes. I don't have it often, but there's a place that I go to on my way home from work, and they sell these. The only place I've seen them. I'm not willing to pay the amount of money for a case of these, but it's nice to have, and it's nice to just kick back and relax and have this. And I figure I sip on this a little bit and just talk with you about how to slow down time. So, real quick. Right now I work in the same city that I was born in. And it's very weird being back in the city because so many memories from childhood creep up. And I look back at my childhood and where I am now, and I'm like, man, so much time has passed. And it's a little frightening. It's frightening to think just 20 years ago, I was going to elementary school in this city. And then I looked back at where has even the last 10 years gone. And it's just scary to see how fast time is flying. And I even got a tattoo. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a watch with the time flying out of it. And it means time flies, so enjoy what you're doing. This watch is not a good enough reminder. I got this watch 7 years ago, and I still find myself looking back at a month, and I'm like, man, where did this month go? So if you're feeling like how I am, kind of just anxious with how fast time's moving, I feel like 2021 was the biggest blur ever. 2020 I remembered more because it was more eventful. You had lockdowns, you had shutdowns, you had restaurants closing, places that I used to work at closed. There's a Starbucks that I worked at that I feel like I really grew as a person, closed, and I drive by that Starbucks. I'm like, man, it's crazy. You just had so many events happening in 2020 that you remember that year. Kobe Bryant was my favorite idol, and when he died, that's 2020. I'm gonna remember 2020 by that event. And there's other things that happened in 2020. Certain relationships fell. I lost my favorite job. Yeah, so if I look back on it, if it's something I've been asking myself, and I was asking myself this as I was driving home, it's been something I've been asking myself for a while. And it's, how do I slow down time? How do I feel more at ease in the moment and really absorb everything that's coming in? And there's a couple things that popped in my head when I kind of meditated on this when I was driving home. The first thing is I spend so much time going towards the next thing, trying to go towards the future. So I have so many goals like this set of, and there's nothing wrong with having goals, but if you're constantly envisioning the future and how great the future is going to be, you're pulling yourself out of the seconds, the minutes that are right in front of you. And I remember when I was growing out my hair, this was years ago, I was growing my hair and I'd always look up pictures of what I wanted my hair to look like, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait for my hair to look like this. And I would have pictures on my phone, and anytime I was bored, I would go look at pictures on my phone. Or if I was, when I was trying to get really lean, I felt like I was constantly daydreaming about this future outcome that I wanted, how good I would feel when I was lean, how excited I would be to take off my shirt when I was lean. And I would obsessively think about going to the gym when I was doing something else. I could be watching TV or talking with friends, and all I can think about, man, I got to go to the gym, right? You're just constantly trying to strive and go towards some future outcome that you desire. And even when I was at work today, I was like, man, I can't wait for this shift to end so I can go and get this drink and I can go and make a video because I was feeling inspired to make a video. It's constantly trying to get to the future. For me, I've never been one to really ruminate in the past. It's always like, how can I get to this next thing? And I feel excitement about what something may bring. So I'm always rushing. And it's weird, I'll get close to something and I'm like, man, that excitement's kind of evaporating. So I think of something else I have to do to get excited about. So the first thing is realizing that future thing may not make you happy. Like, I got really lean, and there's still times that I forget that I'm lean, and I even sometimes feel like I need to be leaner. And there's times when I'm making more money than I ever have, which is great, but I'm still not satisfied with the type of work I'm doing. I don't want to be a coffee manager forever, right? So I'm like, man, I need to make YouTube videos, and I start thinking about YouTube and watching YouTube videos about YouTube. And even while my favorite shows are on, shows and that I used to really enjoy, I almost can't enjoy them anymore because I'm so focused on building a YouTube channel, looking up lights for a YouTube channel, looking up the algorithm. I'm always doing things to get to the future. So I realize how much time I waste doing that. And you hear this a lot, and I'm just taking people's word for it. And what I'm about to tell you is, again, something you probably hear a lot. I know I've heard a lot from a lot of the spiritual books I read. And it's that thing you envision, that future outcome you want, is never quite what we envision it to be. It's never as satiating as we thought. And also, our biology is hardwired to derive dopamine from the future. Like, we believe we're going to feel really good once we get this food. We're going to feel really good once we get this food, or when we get this person or sex, right? We otherwise, our brains and our biology think if we don't glorify the future, we wouldn't take steps towards it, and we would just die. We would just relax and die. But that's not how humans work. Have you ever been so bored that you then go and do something? So this whole fear that if we're not chasing something, that we're just going to be nothing is false. And I realized, I remember when I would cheat on my diet, like I would think, oh man, this food is going to taste so good, I can't wait. I would get really excited. I fell into a binge eating habit. Can't wait to have this food. I would get this food, and then the high from it wouldn't last, and I feel like I needed more food, or I'd feel guilty because I got off my diet because I put such a glorification on the food. That went on for years. That's a whole thing. That's another video. 5 years of binge eating, doing really good on my diet, and then binging, doing really good, binging. So my camera just died, or my memory card got too full, and I had to mess around with it for like 20-30 minutes. It sucked. I hate technology. I'm new to using a camera, a DSLR, a Sony, whatever you call this thing. I'm not a tech person, but anyway, the whole binge eating thing is a topic for another video. But how to slow down time. So we talked about the future is a lie, or we may get that thing that we want, and then the way desire works biologically is we're always going to crave more. So once we understand that glorification of the future is letting us down, we could just let it go. We can just let go of glorification or expecting something to make us feel pleasurable, or that our internal hunger for more desire, more food, more money, more approval will never go away. So we can learn to be content and sit with this desire without letting it run us. So now that we understand the future is a false expectation, and that will eventually let us down. So now the question is, how do we absorb the present moment? How do we get more use out of every second? How can we feel like time is not flying past us? Now we let go of the future, but now how can we really feel into every moment? And as humans, we have the ability to feel. And our feelings, though, our internal feelings, can distract us from the present moment. So you may be feeling fear and be so consumed by it that you're not feeling your steering wheel in your hand as you're driving. Or you may have something on your mind that is stressing you out, that is making you anxious, and you're not listening to someone else talk to you. So how do we snap out of these present feelings just so we can absorb everything that's happening with us? So how do we let go of that initial fear or that initial emotion? The way we do that is by feeling into it, but not being absorbed by it. So how do we do that? That sounds very difficult. It sounds contradictory, and it kind of is. So we have to feel into the fear and watch it. We more have to be a witness of everything that's happening around us. So we have to notice how we're feeling. I'm feeling scared, but then we can't have any other subjective labels on it. We can't start labeling the fear. We can't start trying to think about it, to control it, to suppress it, to cognitively lower our stress or our emotions. We have to kind of just be very objective. Oh, I'm feeling scared. Done. And then just by watching it, it will pass. And you'll sit there and it's like you're watching a movie. Oh, I'm feeling the air of my AC while I'm driving. You know, that's one sensation you'll fear. Oh, I just heard this. And you can just let things come and go and really just feel into any and everything. Obviously, we can't feel and be absorbed by everything. We have selective focus for a reason. But I really think the more we learn to let go of the internal or create more space for it and watch the internal, the more we can get slightly taken into by the air of the AC, of someone's voice when they talk. We can allow those things to absorb us because we're not being blocked off by our own internal feelings. So really the best way to get present is to feel everything that's coming in. Feel all your emotions, feel the way something externally is making you feel without labeling it, judging it, or trying to dissect it. We just let things come up and we let them go. We let another thing come up, we let them go. And now we are just experiencing what is continually. We're not getting lost in the future. We're not getting pulled in the past. We're just constantly witnessing what is and being okay with it. Once we're not okay with a feeling or something that's happening in the external, we get strangled by it. So to sum this up, the best way to slow down time is to let go of glorification of the future, to let go of the past if that's something you struggle with, and really just to feel into what is. Peace.